They ran the half marathon they had.
Oh, yeah.
I know. That's right, it counts. We have.
How was that down before break?
I was a four-post
Welcome everybody tonight. This is the Camanche City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Tom Roth. I'm the City Administrator in Camanche. Give you a little overview of what we're going to do here tonight. Basically, we have 10 candidates running for 3 seats. The mayor's seat is open and 2 council seats are open. Unfortunately, 3 of our candidates couldn't be here tonight. I got a phone call about noon today from Amber Metzger, who indicated that she and Gary Tucker had a family emergency and couldn't be here. And then I know there was an email sent from Brian Gilbert indicating that he had some scheduling challenges and couldn't make it here tonight. So we're going to have 7 folks here tonight. And what we're going to do, Debbie Feaster of Clinton National Bank has agreed to be the moderator. So Debbie's kind of the referee and keep us on schedule and all those sorts of things. Linda Kramer here, a current council member, is going to be our timer, and she's going to keep folks on track. What we have done is set up an agenda where each candidate will have a couple of minutes to basically introduce themselves and tell you why they want to be in office in Camanche. After that, we've written 3 questions. The questions were written up by the staff at City Hall, and they're kind of general questions to just get a feel for basically why these folks want to be involved in city government here. We drew names earlier today at City Hall, randomly drew them. Each person will get asked the same question. The order was determined by a random draw because obviously the first person kind of gets put on the spot and the last person has a little more time to think it over and those sorts of things. But we're trying to stay on a schedule. When you have 10 candidates, it's tough to hear very much from everybody because as it was, we were scheduled for 2 hours. But there are the introductions, 3 questions asked of each candidate, and then each of them will get a couple minutes to basically come up with a conclusion and again explain anything they want, rebut anything that was said. I guess it's kind of up to them how they want to use those closing remarks. So that's what we're up to here tonight, and with that being said, I'll turn this over to Debbie, who's going to get us started.
All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody for taking their time to be here tonight. This is an important evening for our city of Camanche. Everybody wants to do something to help, but it's tough to get people to step forward and be first. So I applaud these people here and those that weren't able to be here tonight for stepping up to the plate and wanting to do this for the community. Each of the candidates are not only willing to help, but they're want to be effective leaders, to be communicators for the people, to listen to what's being said along with hearing what's not being said, to create a team which will provide good management, vision, and growth. Kudos on wanting to make this commitment to the Camanche community. So, as Tom mentioned, we're going to start out with introductions, and the first name that was chosen was Charlie Blount.
I'm retired, 62 years old. I have 5 children, 8 grandchildren. I've worked for the Chicago Northwestern Railroad for 17 years, Union Pacific Railroad for 8 years, and I owned and operated a landscaping business for 30 years. And I want to run for city council. I have concerns about rising taxes.
All right, thank you very much. The next name drawing was Jim Robertson.
Thank you, Debbie. And first of all, thank you, Debbie, and the Chamber for hosting this here tonight for the Candidates Forum. Appreciate that. My name is Jim Robertson. I'm running for mayor. Camanche has been my home for over 44 years. My wife of 43 years is here tonight, Marlene. She's a beautician, has ran her own business, Marlene's Salon of Beauty, in our community for 39 years. Marlene and I have 4 sons, all whom have attended schools from kindergarten through high school. They all graduated from high school here. 3 of my sons live in Camanche. I have 5 grandchildren, 4 of which are in our school system. 3, I guess, actually in and the youngest one, Marley's in Kids Academy. I served on the Camanche Police Department, holding all ranks for a little over 33 years. I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force, serving 4 years during the Vietnam conflict, and was discharged with the rank of sergeant. I was the first commander of American Legion Post number 734, and also a member of AMVETS. Served on the City Council for 3.5 years. I've been mayor at the end of this term for 6.5 years. I work part-time for the Clinton County Sheriff's Office as a security bailiff officer in the Clinton County Courthouse. My hobbies are fishing and working on cars. I am proud of our community. I am proud to serve our community as a police officer, councilperson, as mayor for a total of over 4 decades. Camanche is a great community. I am thankful that the community has supported me for the many years that they have. I've made myself available as mayor. I don't think there's ever been a phone call or somebody that's asked me something that I haven't given them a response. I believe service is important to the community, and I would appreciate your support in this coming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. The next mayoral candidate is Kenneth Paulbeck.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming, because this is a very important time for the city and for you as well. I'm 54 years old. I've been married to my wife Linda for 34 years. We have 2 children, 3 grandchildren. I've lived in the Camanche area all but 3.5 years of my life, and I'm very proud to be from this city. I am a Christian, and I'm currently serving my 6th year on the City Council. I'm planning on retiring from Local Lodge 83 Boilermakers, Kansas City, Missouri in April of next year. I currently drive truck for Detterman Asphalt and Paving. I have strong heritage and family roots dating back to the late 1800s and early 1900s in this town of Camanche. Back in the day, where clamming and fishing for a living was common. I also had a great uncle that served as the mayor of Camanche in 1950s, Howard Pete Walters. Mr. Walters and my father both served on the Camanche Fire Department. My special interests are fishing, hunting, motorcycling, and serving the community, each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. City Council candidates, Eric Hosette.
Thank you, Deb. My name is Eric Hosette. I've been a resident of Camanche for about 21 years now. Always enjoyed living here. My wife Kelly and I are now happy to be starting our family here. I'm running for council because I feel I have a lot to offer to the community. I've been involved with different aspects of community service for about 10 years now. I do work full-time as a firefighter for the city of Clinton. I've been there for a little over 5 years now, and I'm just amazed at the reaction I get from people when I help them. It really hits me in the heart. I really enjoy helping people out. I want nothing more for the city than to see it to continue and progress. The city has always been very progressive and moving forward, making sure the citizens are heard, what they want, and I just want to keep that going. I want to make sure that people have a safe and comfortable place to call their home. I do understand that as a council member, tough decisions will be brought up to the table, and it is imperative that through those decisions I do the research that would be necessary. That way an educated decision can be made and come to a good conclusion with that. I also understand it's my duty to listen to the voice of the citizens and address any of their concerns in a timely fashion, as they are the beating heart of this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next, Bill Simpson.
My name is Bill Simpson. It says so right here in front of me. I live in the Cedar Heights Mobile Home Park. I've been a resident of Camanche for 71 years. I'm retired from the DuPont Company, and I'm presently a Clinton Herald carrier. I'm married and I have 4 children. In 1957, I was a candidate for mayor, but was defeated by one of our best mayors that we've had in this town. In 2001, I was elected and served a 4-year term on the city council. And one thing we did was get rid of the garbage stickers that everybody said was a nuisance. For the last 5 years, I have been chairman of the Board of Adjustment, so I have been active in the city for the last 9 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. City Council candidate Matt Blunt.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. My name is Matt Blunt. I've lived in Camanche for the majority of my life. I'm an engineer at the Union Pacific Railroad, and hobbies are cars and dirt bikes. That's what I would want. My concerns are spending. I don't think this city has an income problem as far as tax revenue. I think it has a spending problem.
Thank you very much. Paul Varner.
My name is Paul Varner. I want to thank the citizens of Camanche and the Local Government Affairs Committee of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce for presenting this debate on the upcoming election. I was born in Rochelle, Illinois. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and I graduated from Lanark High School in Illinois. I joined the United States Army Military Police Corps September 1972. I served 8 years as a military police officer and was assigned to duty stations in Southeast Asia, Savannah Army Depot, where I met my wife Shirley, White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, and finally as a United States Customs Inspector in the Canal Zone, Republic of Panama. I was hired to the city of Camanche as a police officer April of 1981 and have served Camanche until my retirement February 2007. I've lived in Camanche for 30 years with my wife Shirley, and we've raised 2 daughters. During my 30 years in Camanche, I have volunteered as a firefighter for 15 years, and I am an honorary member of the Camanche Fire Department now, where I became Camanche's first state-certified fire and arson investigator. I have volunteered as an emergency medical technician, where I served as a CPR instructor. I served on the Planning and Zoning Committee for 2 years, and also the Camanche Day Committee for 4 years. I volunteered as vice president, then president, of the Clinton Area Vietnam Veterans Association when the monument was being built on the Clinton County Courthouse lawn. I helped establish a scholarship fund for the Paul B. Scherer Foundation at Clinton Community College, and I was the first functioning president of the Camanche Police and Fire Union. I currently am a member of the Kiwanis Club in Camanche and volunteer for their supervisory board. I'm also one of the original members of the Caring Community Coalition of Camanche. I'm a member of the Camanche Historical Society, and I started the Camanche Farmers Market. I'm proud to say that I'm from Camanche, although I wasn't born here, because Camanche is the kind of town that makes you feel proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. We're ready for the first question. Each of you will have up to 2 minutes to respond. If you need me to repeat the question, just please ask. The first one to be called will be James Robertson. The question is, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community, and why are they important?
I think that we need to be progressive in the city of Camanche. I know that we have a road out here, Washington Boulevard, that needs to be fixed. We have to have some way of fixing that. That's going to be a top priority. I think that would be, we've been kicking the can down the road for 5 years. I think interest rates are at the lowest that they've ever been. If this was a $4 million project, and we did the amortization on it, if an interest rate goes up 1%, it's going to end up costing the taxpayers down here over $300,000. When they're as low as they are right now, I don't think they're going to go any lower. I think the only way that they're going to go is go up. I've been working very hard and trying to spur some economic development. Hopefully in the very near future is that's going to happen. We've been working with some people to the north of us, the Hawkeye Chemical Plant, the old Hawkeye Chemical Plant. Very hard to get something going for the people in this community. We need not only to plan, not just for today, or tomorrow, but we need to plan in this community for the future. And I think that's what we need. I'm hoping my experience living in Camanche for as long as I have, serving where I have, makes me knowledgeable. I know that I'm dedicated in doing that. So I believe that's probably pretty much where I would be at. So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Next will be Charlie Blunt. And would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
Well, that's a pretty simple question. To start out with, cut spending, cut taxes, balance the budget. I mean, it's directly the opposite, according to my opposing candidate, Jim Robertson. I think the taxpayer of this community is stretched to a point right now, like a rubber band. They don't need any advanced taxes or any more spending. Other than that, that's my point of view. I sympathize with the elderly, the younger generation. What is their future going to be like? I don't believe that jobs come from government, and this is an example of big government locally. And jobs doesn't come from government. When you have big government, people become smaller, and this is the way it is here at a small level in a small city of Camanche. We are stretched to the limit as far as taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Ken Ballbeck. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
Thank you. My number 1 priority would be to keep the taxes low in this community. Everywhere I go around town, seeing people at the store, seeing them at church, seeing them anywhere, they're complaining continuously about how much their taxes have raised the last 5 to 7 years. And several of them have showed me how much they've raised. And it's just unbelievable, as you all know, because you've had your own papers and taxes sitting right in front of you, seeing how much they've raised. This economy right now is in a spin, and if the people of this community don't think it is, they're going to find out here. It's not going to be over for a long time. This is not going to stop. And my main objective is to keep the taxes low. My second issue would be to plan for our future projects. I have a plan to keep our taxes low in this economy. When it comes time to cut budgets, we're notorious for not cutting budgets. And I will cut budgets a little bit at a time, I promise you that. We have a lot of things better than other communities do for our departments, and I believe that we do have to cut somewhere to start saving these monies, to put them into CDs and bonds. That's the only way to do it.
Thank you. Bill Simpson, the question is, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
I'm gonna have to, excuse me, could you repeat that?
You bet. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
Well, I think one of the priorities of the community is we have some vacant property. We should try to bring in industry into this vacant property. Also, some of the vacant property has now been turned into subdivisions, so the town is getting larger. I think we're just going to have to keep improving our water, our sewer, and, you know, make everything better and better, because we do have the finest school system in the state of Iowa. We have a very good volunteer fire department, and I think we should try to you know, to bring industry into the town to try to fill up this vacant property.
Thank you, Bill. Eric Cosette, would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
My first priority for the community would to make sure that it stays moving forward. Over the years, this town has had a lot of responsible people in charge of it, and it still does to this day. They've been very responsible with finances, making sure that we get the equipment we need for different departments and so on and so forth in their respective areas. I don't feel that there has been money being spent just because it needs to be spent or they want to spend it. There's been a lot of financial aid available that has been utilized over the years. My second priority would be to see the Washington Boulevard project go through. That is a main road in town. It is what people see when they come into our town. We do need to make sure that it is rebuilt, resurfaced, whatever you want to might call it, to make it functional again and makes something else to be proud of in our city. And lastly, public safety is number 1. People are not going to want to move to this community if things are taken away from our public safety, whether it be police, fire, public works. People want to have peace of mind that when they come home at night, they don't have to stress whether or not something might fall apart, they might have an emergency at home, that type of thing. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Matt Blunt, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the community and why are they important?
My top 3 priorities would be first, probably wages paid to city employees. Next would probably be the amount of people that are on the payroll. And third, I would probably address the Washington Boulevard project. I think we need to get back to the basics, go back to the bare minimum. I think we're heavy on the fire department and the police department in this town. I think there's a bias on this council, and I don't think the taxpayers have been represented fairly.
All right, thank you very much. Paul Varner.
My top 3 priorities, first would be Washington Boulevard, with keeping a close eye on the costs. I was the one that came forward and said, we ought to reevaluate this after we got the bids in and said, I think this is costing too much. Let's go back and see if there's some more that we can cut, and we did. So I've been a very, very strong advocate of doing something with Washington Boulevard, which most everybody agrees we have to. But I was the one that came back and said, let's reevaluate it and see if there's more money that we can save. That would be my first priority, is getting Washington Boulevard finished. We need a decent front door. We ain't got that right now. My second priority would be to keep an eye on the taxes. Right now, Camanche's in the black. I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it to where we're sitting fine, and right now we are. Our coffers are fine. We're audited every year. So that is to keep an eye on that and make sure that our taxes are level and easy for everybody to be able to pay. My third priority would be to get industry in here. That would help offset the loss or the tax burden. And we need to have the tax burden taken off the people, because right now our city employees are exactly where they should be. We've got a third firefighter that costs us nothing. It's being paid for by the ambulance service. The police department is doing things that I couldn't even dream of because of cost constraints when I was on duty. You call up, you want public service, you expect people to be there. Well, if you don't pay for them, they're not going to be. Thank you.
Thank you. We are on to question number 2. Again, 2 minutes to complete your comments. First person to be called will be Charlie Blunt. What do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses, and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths, and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
Well, first of all, the strengths of this community is the people themselves, and the intelligent workforce that we have here in the Midwest, and the education, and I think, what was the second part of that question?
What would you do to build upon the strengths, and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
Well, I mentioned the strengths and the weaknesses is basically within our own city government here in Camanche. We have a biased group of people that's on the council right now. They operate with their own agenda, and they're a self-interest group, and I think we need more diversity.
Thank you. Paul Varner.
Could you repeat the question, please?
What do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses, and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths, and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
The strengths of the community is just Comanche people in themselves. That's the strength of the community. And to build on that strength, I would go ahead and listen to what the people have to say, take in consideration, because you're going to have all kinds of different opinions, listen to what they have to say, and try to make judgments along with other council members and the mayor that will do the best job for the citizens of Camanche. Because the citizens themselves are our strength, period. Without them, this town would be nothing. On the weaknesses right now, as I see it, is we need to have the government continue, the city government, except for Washington Boulevard, has been the large elephant in the room. Other than that, you look back on the minutes of the council meetings that we've had in the past, there's been very little dissension. There's been very little we've disagreed on. And to say that we have agendas, I don't have an agenda now, and I won't have an agenda in the future. My agenda is doing what's best for my adopted community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kenneth Ballbeck, what do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses, and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths, and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
One of the strongest things in this community is our school system. I'm very proud to have went to school here. Right now, our superintendent that we have, Mr. Tom Parker, has done an excellent job. He's been honored through the state. All of our teachers in this community do a great job with our kids. We got to stand behind them as much as we can. My next one on the list would be the fire department and the ambulance service. I stand behind the fire department and the ambulance service because of what they do for our community. Sometimes, no matter whether you like what they do, you still have to be within limits of spending money as to be responsible for your budget. They've done a good job with their budget, but I think there needs to be cuts on both the police and fire departments on their budgets. The next thing I would say is stand behind our local businesses. We have several large businesses here. We have several small businesses in this community. And if there's work to be done in our own community, let's let these people do the work instead of going out of town. Keep the money in our own city. That's about it.
Thank you. Matt Blunt, what do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses, and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths, and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
I'd say the strengths in our community are the people, our school system. I definitely would like their input when it comes to voting on an issue that has anything to do with raising taxes. I would build upon a relationship with the citizens of Camanche by doing that. Pertaining to the Washington Boulevard project, there was many citizens that had asked for that to go to a vote, but none of the council members were interested in letting that go forth. Whether it was binding or not, I think their input should have been heard. Their voices should have been heard on that. Our weaknesses, I'd say, is our council right now. We got heavy fire department, police department. There are other towns that are the same size as Camanche that are operating with a volunteer fire department and a smaller police department with no complaints. So I guess I'd address those things. Those are the weaknesses.
Thank you. Bill Simpson, what do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths and what would you do to address the weaknesses? You hear? Would you like me to repeat it again?
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I didn't quite get all the
That's okay.
question.
What would you what do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses? And what would you do to build upon the strengths and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
Well, I'd only be one member of the council, so I'd definitely have to go with what the other 4 members wanted. I don't really have too much of a comment on that till I do a little studying on it and see what there is behind it.
Thank you. Next will be James Robertson. What do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses? What would you do to build upon the strengths and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
I think that some of them have already been addressed. I think that we got a fantastic school system here. I know because I've had all my children go through it. 2 of my 4 boys who went, after graduating, went on and got their degrees. I think that probably, along with our school system, it's our youth, our kids here. We got good, hard-working people in Camanche. I think those are all strengths. Our weaknesses, I think the biggest thing that we have, the biggest problem that we have right now in Camanche is the communications, getting the word out to people with what's actually going on in our city. Because I think that if they actually knew what was going on and some of the rationale behind the street project, and you know, there's other people saying that they don't want it, ask them what their plans are. Got to have a plan for the future. Is the Clinton Herald here tonight?
Yes.
Great, good. That's what we need. We need better communication. We need the word to get out. We need maybe more time to be spent by some of our local newspapers on specific issues that affect everybody in this community and to get a full understanding. So I think we'd have a lot less problems than what we got if that word did get out. So,
Thank you, Jim.
do that.
Eric Hosette, would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
What do you see as our community's strengths and weaknesses and why? What would you do to build upon the strengths and what would you do to address the weaknesses?
I feel that the #1 strength of Camanche is our spirit. People are proud to be from here. They enjoy being here. They actively participate in city functions, city events. The other thing that I feel is a strength is our public service. People are generally very happy with the response they get if they call for help, or if, say with Public Works, they have a problem with a street or anything of that nature. They are happy with the response that they get. Our weakness is public knowledge. I am very disappointed to see the amount of misrepresented information being passed around the city. I don't know if it's just to get a rise out of people, but it really concerns me that people are spreading false information around to make the city look bad. This city is nowhere near being broken. It's constantly being moving forward. People are treating it with respect, with responsibility, and I would just like to make sure people are more informed with the truth instead of what's being spread around in gossip. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Question number 3. What challenges, oops, I'm sorry, Paul Varner. I'm going to give you any sneak time ahead of time. Paul Varner, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
Right now, like I said before, the large elephant in the room is Washington Boulevard. I think that is crucial that that matter be resolved and that matter be resolved and that we finally get that decent road through town. There's a lot of other aspects of looking down the future for future projects that we need to consider as we move forward. A lot of that is to take and put it in with the tax asking that we're going to be coming forward and saying to people, how much more can you afford? I'm disabled. I'm on a total disabled income. I got a fixed pension. So I know when people are going, I have to live by my means, that's what I got. So I can sympathize with these people. So I would like to go forward and consider these future projects and see if we can afford, if the cost of doing them is worth coming to you and asking you for more taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. James Robertson, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
I think probably that Paul's probably right. Probably the biggest challenge that we got simply is because of the cost is Washington Boulevard. I think that, I'm just looking at our tax statement here right now, you know, we talked about that somewhat. Camanche's rate right now is $11.47. $11.47. Maquoketa $12.45. Bellevue $12.73. DeWitt $14.07. Clinton $15.33. You know, I don't think that we've really done so bad for ourselves down here. I think that we need to be progressive. If we want to keep the youth in our community and our kids in the community, I think that's a challenge. I think that we need to be progressive. We need to clean up after we do get the best road that we can out here in Washington Boulevard for the least amount of money for the taxpayers in this community. Then maybe we can start working and cleaning up a little bit of Washington Boulevard and get things organized. People ask me, why don't we have a fast food restaurant down here? Somebody looks right now, who's going to make that investment? We have to help ourselves, people, down here a little bit. And I think that we have to, that's a challenge. I think we need to move forward with it. We need to be positive about it. So, that's it.
Thank you. Matt Blunt, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
The biggest challenge I see right now is getting the right people on the city council. I've stated before, I think it's been biased. I know where most of our money has gone. Most of the people in this community know where most of our money has gone. If they had spent responsibly 5 years ago, we wouldn't be looking at having to borrow $5.7 million for the Washington Boulevard project. I just hope that everybody gets informed, educated on how some of these people have voted and what they've stood for and what they've done and haven't done. I think that would be the best way to remedy the situation that I think we have here in the city council today.
Thank you. Eric Hosette, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
I think our biggest challenge, again, is public information, public knowledge. A lot of people just don't understand the ins and outs of what this city does, or what the different departments do on a day-to-day basis. I challenge everybody in this room to do the research with different departments, go to City Hall, pull the records, it's all public information. You know, do the research so you really truly know and understand what goes on in this city. Don't listen to gossip from different people around town. It's not healthy for this community at all. And in fact, it's irresponsible for any of our city leaders to do that. We need to make sure we're educated before we make any decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Fallbeck, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
I think one of the biggest challenges that faces this community is paying attention to our senior citizens. All the complaints that I've got on this Washington Boulevard project have been mainly from our senior citizens that are on fixed incomes. Just here in the news recently, the last couple days, 70% of all senior citizens on Social Security only make between $7,500 to $12,000 a year. If they don't have a retirement package, that's not much money to live on to have your taxes raised like they're going to with this road project. Our water and sewer rates are going to raise again because of these digital readouts that they just had installed in every house in this community. Our county taxes are going to continue to rise. Our school taxes are always going to be there. Of course, we know that. But that is one of the biggest issues that I have. We have to stand behind not just some of the people, all of the people.
Thank you. Bill Simpson, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
Well, I think one of the challenges that faces the community is what we're going to do with Washington Boulevard. Washington Boulevard has to be repaired. Now, I don't say it has to be repaired at the figure that they're quoting us now, but Washington Boulevard has to be repaired. I think our bike path should be continued through town because it's coming into the north end or the west end or east end, goes out on the west end, but there's nothing in between. I think the bike path should be finished because the money is there, I understand, to do it. And I think that's the only way that we're going to make this community any better, is to take care of some of these things that are laying there right now that should be done. I would also like to see, there's one vacant building here in town. I'd like to see something go into that building, even if we'd have to consider tax increment financing to help the person open up a business there instead of have a vacant building sitting there. So I think one of our challenges is to try to get more business here, better business, and make the town grow because it's going to continue to grow.
Thank you. Charlie Blount, what challenges face the community and what would you do to address them?
Well, the challenges that we face as a community isn't any different than any other community of this nation, this state, is jobs and a lack of them. And a lot of these problems that we face would be resolved as a result if there was more jobs to be had for a lot of people. The unemployment rate here in Clinton County is 6.7%. National, it's 9.1%. And you just don't keep raising taxes like this council that we've had the last several years has raised taxes every year. And that's been a challenge for this community. And you see on the news all the time about different communities that's being faced with the same budget problem. And the first source that they go to is the fire department, police department, and my opinion, roads is an asset to any community. It's a good hard asset. Police departments are a good hard asset. Fire departments is a good asset. But under these circumstances today, you don't enlarge the police department and the fire department like they have here in the last several years when we've been going through this economic downturn. And it's no longer an asset for this community to have the amount of people on the police department and the fire department today. I think they have to make their contribution towards what the normal taxpayer has done for the last several years, answering to the needs of this council. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now to your closing comments. You can rebut anything you'd like. You each have 2 minutes, and we will start with our mayoral candidates. James Robertson.
Good police, good fire, good water, and good streets. Those are essentials for a community. The rest are frills. I don't want to deal in negatives for some of the things that are going on in our community. I'm going to talk a little bit about some positives. Our general fund when I became mayor was $1,183,470. Right now it's $1,369,378. That's $185,858 more than what I started when I was mayor. We hired a city administrator for professional management of the city. Part-time mayors can't do it anymore. We need professional management. Schools do it. Other cities do it. There's good reasons that they do it. We purchased 2 new fire trucks, a brush truck and an ambulance since I've been mayor. Through the efforts of the Camanche Fire Department, they have received nearly $500,000 in grants and donations. The brush truck was paid in its entirety. We went from an EMT to a paramedic service. The revenues coming in from that, which was going to insurance companies before, is paying for the firefighter, and we upgraded our services. We have 2 new water towers. The 9th Street Bridge is being probably going to be open in a couple of weeks. We received $168,000 of stimulus from the county by asking for it, which we went up. We received $186,000 for 2 generators from Congressman Braley. I went and talked to the County Board of Supervisors, and we got the other $62,500, thus not costing 1 penny of a taxpayer money. We worked with Kids Academy to make them viable. We repaired the steps in Garner Hall. We've done a lot of good things for this community. We want to be progressive. We want our kids and our families to stay here. We are one of the very few communities in this area that had a population growth, and I've been told to be quiet. So.
Sorry.
So,
good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie Blunt.
As far as wetlands,
You are able to make your closing comments, any rebuttals, and you have 2 minutes to do so.
Well, I think this is not a time to be progressive in today's economy. And I know it's just a direct opposite of the existing mayor and myself. And I've opposed a lot of issues that's taken place at the council. And I just don't see any rhyme or reason in the direction that they are following. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Gallbeck.
Thank you. I'd like to make a little comment myself on the Washington Boulevard project. I agree that this road is in trouble and needs to have something done with it. This road was given to us 30 years ago by this state of Iowa. Not 1 dime of money has been saved in this 30 years to go towards this to take the burden off the taxpayers. That is wrong. There are ways to adjust budgets. There are ways to make this money available. You can't just take money out of your general fund and create it for a road project because it's against the law, but there are ways to cut budgets and have the departments help out and the city do their part on paying for these projects. And I have a plan for that if I'm elected mayor. I'll serve this city with pride and dignity to my fullest knowledge I can serve. And I'm not going to get any more heated than I already am, because that's one of the issues that I've had trouble with for a long time. I'd like to wish all the candidates good luck in the election. Thank you.
Thank you. City Council candidates, you will now have 2 minutes to summarize and make your closing remarks. We'll start with Matt Blunt.
Okay, I agree with Jim Robertson and wanting to keep the youth of this community here. I would like them to be able to afford to stay in this community when they get older. There's been a windfall of tax income from these subdivision expansions that we've had here in town. There's no reason why we shouldn't have money in the bank to be able to do this road project. Instead, like I've said before, we know where our money's been going. Police department, fire department. I think this council has been biased. You don't have firemen and police negotiating wages with firemen and police. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayer. I don't see how anybody else can see any way different. Like I said, there's other communities the same size as Camanche that are operating with less police, volunteer fire department, contracted out ambulance services with a huge savings to the taxpayer. But none of this has ever occurred to any of the council members or the mayor that's holding the seat today. So if you want your taxes to keep going up, vote for my opponents. If you want your taxes to go down, vote for me.
Thank you, Matt. Closing remarks from Paul Varner.
In closing, I would like to point out what has been accomplished in almost 4 years that I've been on the council. The $5.5 million water improvement project has been completed. 2 water towers and clean water to areas that didn't have it before. That costs the taxpayers nothing. $5.5 million free. The wastewater tie-in with Clinton and the lift station for the project is being paid for by a grant and user fees. No increase in taxes to the citizens. No increase. The Mississippi River Trail, the MRT, the 9th Street Bridge, 9th Street Trail, 9th Avenue Improvement Curb and Gutter, Washington Boulevard North and South End overlays, Hazel Lake Shoulder Improvement, 21st Street Lyondell Warshot Improvement, 2 new fire trucks, a new ambulance, 3 generators for use by the police department, fire department, and public works cost the citizens of Camanche no additional tax dollars. We had the money already. The budget of Camanche is doing very well. We're in the black. When the time comes, we did not replace a public works personnel. When the time came, we did not replace an employee from City Hall. As your councilman liaison to the Clinton County landfill, I spearheaded a commission that was responsible for saving the taxpayers of Camanche considerable increases in their garbage fees. This committee also saved over $50,000 that would have had increases to our citizens. With your help, I would like to re-elect another 4-year term as your councilman to complete ongoing projects. And just one short rebuttal. I was a police union fire director, and I was also then a councilman. Police didn't negotiate with police. They wouldn't let me. So that's just a rebuttal.
Thank you very much. Next with closing remarks would be Eric Cosette.
Thank you. Again, I'd just like to stress how proud I am of our community and the people that are in it. I have never met a better group of people. I've done a lot of traveling in my time, and I really enjoy the people that are here in Camanche. I would like to see our community continue to grow. We have a very good public service system, whether it be police, fire, public works. Our fire department has been regarded across the state as one of the best trained in the state, and I think that says something for a small town community like ours. I've been to City Hall. I've done the research with the finances. Our city is nowhere near financial hardship. We are very much solvent. We will continue to be due to the responsibility of those that are in charge of their respective departments. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Simpson, your closing remarks.
Well, as you know, I'm a candidate for the council. Would like to see something done to Washington Boulevard as a main street through town. My thinking on Washington Boulevard is if we are going to do it, we should do it right the first time and not do it at all. We should do something that will last into the future and not just a quick fix for today, but try to hold the reins on the cost. I would also like to see a new city hall on Washington Boulevard. The old city hall is in bad shape. It's cold there in the wintertime. It's not wheelchair friendly. And if people come into town, they want to know where the city hall is. They have to stop at Quick Star, and they tell them 2 blocks down the road, take a right, go 3 or 4 blocks down the road, take a left, and it's an old building. I'd also like to see something done with the bike path, complete, now that it is in our city. And that's about the only thing that we should have to do, because we are getting bigger, we're growing bigger and bigger every year. And someday we're going to be a lot bigger than we are today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I have a final thought I'd like to leave everybody with. To be a good leader, you must have enthusiasm that is inspired by reason, controlled by caution, sound in theory, practical in application, reflects confidence, spreads good cheer, raises morale, inspires associates, arouses loyalty, and is able to face adversity. Good luck at the polls.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.